Pope is concerned, or the selection of the next Pope. There will be a conclave that will be conducted, and that conclave, the cardinals who are a part of that conclave will get to decide through a vote who gets elected to be the next pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church. But I want to come back to the message of Prime Minister Modi. Now, one of the major contentions that people from the minority communities, some within the Christian community, have always been questioning Prime Minister Modi and BJP with regards to the minorities and their relationship with the minorities. But I remember very, very clearly, because somebody that is close to me was instrumental in the visit that Pope Francis Modi had with Pope Francis during the G7 meeting. And I remember the contours of that conversation that happened at that time, the discussion they had at that time, where Pope Francis was likely to visit India as well, and there was an informal invitation given to Pope Francis from the Indian government and from Prime Minister Modi, and there was a formal one also extended to the pontiff. But of course, because of ill health, he was not able to make it, and there was a team working behind it as well from India, from the Catholic Christian community, as well as the government of India. Now, you had two leaders, Pope Francis and Prime Minister Modi, absolutely disruptive in their commitment to what they believed was the right thing to do. And that's exactly what Pope Francis is also. And therefore, I feel very sad that that meeting and the visit of Pope Francis could not have happened in India, because he was a leader that the Roman Catholic faith in India needed to meet, be blessed by, and to be interacted with, because he understood the geopolitical situations, the global geopolitical situations very well. What he also understood is what is the role of a Catholic or a Christian within that global geopolitical situation. It was always about being the peacemaker. Pope Francis's style of functioning was that of a conflict resolver, a conflict avoider. He wanted to always promote peace. He always advocated for peace. And therefore, that kind of blessing, that kind of learning, if Pope Francis would have to have visited India, it would have had an immense impact on the people from the Christian community, not politically, but spiritually, and from a humane point of view. And therefore, I feel sad that that didn't happen. And hopefully, the new Pope that comes in gets a chance to visit India, because there's a huge congregation of Catholics and Christians that are very integral part of the diverse secular identity of India, who want to have India and Vatican have a very strong relationship, in order for them to have synergies and their fears, their aspirations to be addressed collectively between the leaders, the Christian leaders here, and the government in power as well as to move ahead. Everybody wants to contribute to nation building. And Pope Francis and Prime Minister Modi could have achieved that breakthrough, that confidence building measure between the government and the Christian community, had Pope Francis visited India. Unfortunately, he could not, because of his ill health at that point of time.
All right, Savi, stay with us. The Israeli President Isaac Herzog has shared condolences on Pope Francis's passing, while sharing hopes that his continuous prayers for peace in the Middle East will soon be answered. President Herzog shared his deepest condolences to the Christian world, and especially the Christian communities in Israel, on the loss of their great spiritual father. Herzog further stated that he truly hopes the Pope's prayers for peace in the Middle East and for the safe return of the hostages will soon be answered. And US President J.D. Vance, who met Pope Francis in Italy yesterday, has stated, "I just learned of the passing of the Pope. My heart goes out to the millions of Christians all over the world who loved him. I was happy to see him yesterday, though he was obviously very ill, but I'll always remember him for the below homily he gave in the very early days of COVID. It was really quiet and beautiful. May God rest his soul." All right, this is exactly the tweet, if we can call it, which has been put out on X by J.D. Vance. He's remembering the Pope, and he met him yesterday, perhaps one of the few leaders who got to see him in his last moments. J.D. Vance, who's going to be on a 2-day visit to India, has also announced that the whole Christian community is going to be in a state of remembrance and shock at the death of the Pope. Savio, J.D. Vance also weighing in and of course responding to the Pope's death. Perhaps we can call him lucky for being able to see the Pope one last time a day before he died.
Well, I wouldn't say he was lucky, but blessed to meet with the Pope. J.D. Vance is a very, very spiritual man, though in the political spectre. He is certainly a leader who wears his religious belief on his sleeve. And it's a good thing to see. It's a good thing to see political leaders putting forth their faith, because in the end, they are people like every one of us. And secularism is not the acceptance of all religion in matters of governance. Secularism is the acceptance of no religion in matters of governance. So your religion is your private affair, and that you showcase it is fine. But it doesn't define your governance styles or strategies or policies. What J.D. Vance has done, he has experienced, I believe he's a very good leader. He's a very, very spiritual leader, and he's guided a lot by that belief that he has in Christianity, and therefore the decision he makes has a humane touch to it. But the beauty is Pope Francis. I've always believed, I had an opportunity to meet him in 2019 when he was having a synod on the issue of clergy abuse, but I couldn't make it at that time, and a colleague of mine happened to go for it. I also, was looking forward to going to Vatican this year, but unfortunately, I won't have the opportunity to meet up with him. But it would have been wonderful to know him. I have certain members in my family, my nephew, who had his marriage blessed after he got married by Pope Francis himself when they went to Rome and they visited Vatican. And he was kind enough to give them that blessing during that visit. The point is, he was a man that the church required at that point of time, at a very, very difficult time. The world was going through its own crisis. There were own problems of understanding humanity and the various millions of combinations that people were trying to twist around as far as humans are concerned, sexual preferences are concerned, etc.
Right.
But he had his...
Savi, just hold on to that thought. Some more breaking news coming in. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has also shared condolences following Pope Francis's death. Prime Minister Meloni